One thing gets in the way of this beautiful picture, though. It is the dark tendency for people to exploit, take advantage of, or victimize others. And these actions are stumbling blocks which degrade trust levels in society, hence bringing in a multitude of problems. The world we live in is a difficult one. This is shown by the untamed wilderness, which is rife with death, danger, and disease. To survive, we either subjugate the environment together as a team, or be subjugated by the environment, or be subjugated by one another. A population which is fearful of death and loss of freedom can and will be subjugated and controlled. One evidence and symptom of our subservience to reality is having our self-identity and self-worth be tied to our craft, our means to earn a living. This is a backdoor by which we can be controlled and manipulated by external factors and forces. It is also a mark of being enslaved because if our means to live is our identity and reason to live, then there is no reason not to be unscrupulous and abuse others in order to ensure our means to live. The chaos brought by people's act of knowing or unknowing participation in victimizing others surely becomes the excuse for tyranny, the subjugation of man by man. And since chaos is the means by which tyrants legitimize their claim over their slaves, there is no reason not to manufacture chaos in order to further secure their stranglehold on power. Moving forward, because we are subjugated and enslaved by our inferiors, both in virtue and contributive ability, this ensures that we are enslaved not only by other men, but by our environment as well. Death, disease, and desolation are expectedly common in such situations. But have no fear. All this is beautifully resolved by an elegant solution. Inside every person, there is a slot which houses the means by which the individual looks through in order to define good and evil in everyday life. This can be the teachings of an enlightened philosopher, the writings of an ingenious book, the commands of a noble king, or it can be past experiences and trauma, compliance demanded with threats, the statutes of a tyrant. Or it can be a jumbled mixture of all of the above and more, struggling to gain the privilege of being in the slot to be used to define good and evil with. Ladies and gentlemen, I found it. The perfect system to occupy this very slot. To solve the problem of man victimizing man, we must first begin by establishing laws for the purpose of governance. The laws are many. I spent about 2 years categorizing them so that they may be fulfilled more easily. I will post them in a link down below. However, the problem with any law is that it is reliant on language to convey its means, and language can be manipulated for the purpose of injustice and oppression. As written in the Bible, the creator of the universe, Yahweh, chose to redeem all of humanity by first starting with a small tribe of people called the Jews. He saved the Jews with mighty power and miracles from the Egyptians who enslaved them. Then Yahweh commanded them to obey him as their king. He gave them laws as a blueprint to build a nation which shall never fall if adhered to faithfully. However, imagine a musical score for a song that no one has heard before. Can anyone play the song with the exact same intonation and emotion as the author of that musical score intended? Now let's imagine sending this musical score to a group of people who do not even know how to read musical notes. Can this group of people who does not even know how to read musical notes play this song exactly as the author of the song intended? And that was how things played out. Time and time again, the Jews failed to obey Yahweh's laws. So they were enslaved again and again by other nations. First the Babylonians, then the Persians, and finally, the Romans ruled over the Jews. And it is in this time of the Roman Empire that the perfect man that has not been tainted by evil, Jesus, was sent to the Jews to free them from their slavery by teaching them how to finally obey Yahweh's laws fully. Jesus taught them how to obey Yahweh's laws, not just by teaching with words, but he lived out the laws of Yahweh for all to see and experience. Yet the elites amongst the Jews, who are experts in the laws of Yahweh, used the laws to find excuse to have Jesus executed. They did this because they were worried they would lose their position and power in society. After Jesus was executed, as proof of Yahweh's approval of Jesus, Jesus was resurrected as a sign for all of us, to demonstrate that conforming ourselves to Jesus is what Yahweh desires of us, for our own good. When we, in our own individual capacity, crown Jesus as our personal King of all kings, Lord of all lords, he then becomes our means by which we understand the guiding principles behind the laws of Yahweh, which defines good and evil in all aspects of our lives. This way, our love for our beloved King, lived out, establishes the kingdom of heaven here on earth. It is this kingdom which will last for all eternity. The power structures of the world are all hierarchical in nature, in which the elites are always on top, the people who keep them in power in the middle, then the rest of the people are shoved to the bottom to be oppressed. The kingdom of Jesus is different because the king is the greatest servant who shed his blood and gave his life for all his subjects. There is no need of cronies to keep Jesus in power, and amongst the people of his kingdom, the greater citizens are the servants of the lesser citizens. It is the total opposite of the top-down hierarchical systems of the world. The problems of politics as we know it is solved by this mechanism. 2,000 years ago, King Jesus came unto us, inherited his kingdom, was killed, then resurrected, and left us with specific instructions to teach the whole world his ways through words and demonstration. Then he departs from this world and sent us the Holy Spirit to flesh out his royal majesty's instructions, which includes being vigilant to obey all his commandments always and to be prepared at all times for his promised sudden return to this world to render judgment unto all. There is nothing in the world like this. On the surface, this seems counterintuitive on so many levels, but when put into practice, we get a monarchy on earth in which the king is away but may return suddenly any time. We get decentralization on the material level, but direct centralization on an immaterial level as we connect directly with our king through the Holy Spirit to do his royal majesty's work, without needing any third party such as bureaucrats or priests. If everyone does this willingly out of their own free will, this will happen. 1. Politics as we know it will cease to exist, obsolete. 2. Governments as we know it will cease to exist, obsolete. 3. Hierarchical systems as we know it will cease to exist, obsolete. 4. Every person will be at peace with one another because they prioritize the well-being of others, and within them they are governed by the divine law written on their hearts. 5. The world will be unrecognizable from today and progress in all areas of life, technology, and knowledge will be unceasing. On the other hand, of course the evil tyrants of the world are not going to just sit idly by while we erode their machinations of oppression as the kingdom of heaven spreads over the face of the earth. As encouragement, this is what Jesus said. They will deliver you up to tribulation and kill you, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. And then many will be offended, will betray one another, and will hate one another. Then many false prophets will rise up and deceive many, and because lawlessness will abound, the love of many will grow cold. But he who endures to the end shall be saved. And this good news of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to all the nations, and then the end will come. Remember, a population which is fearful of death and loss of freedom can and will be subjugated and controlled by tyrants. Through following Christ, we have accepted our slavery unto his commands to live out his virtue and spread his love unto all the ends of the world. Through following Jesus, we have accepted inevitable death, tribulation, and persecution for doing the right thing, for doing good. In this manner, our freedom and our death is dedicated unto the cause of true love everlasting, and in exchange, we gain life. What is death but a full stop by which we start a new sentence? Remember the resurrection. Everyone dies one day. It's the stories you leave behind which counts. So, there you go. The keys to freedom. Take it.